So joining me on the sofa right now is Scott, Karsten, Lydia and Lee to answer the questions that you've been asking all week. So we've got quite a lot to get through, so we may as well kick off with one from Twitter, which is from Sirwa Abagoyi, saying, how will the Fry twins interact with not only each other, but also the player as the Assassin's Creed series' first dual protagonists? Yeah, do you want to go with that one, Scott?
Sure, yeah. No, they're brother and sister, like I said a little bit earlier, so they're going to be... They want to team up, but they also start fighting a little bit against each other. They're going to... I'm not sure if this is... They're going to push each other a little bit. They're going to want to see, Jacob wants to push Evie towards a little bit more chaos. Evie wants to pull Jacob a little bit away from the chaos. Jacob loves the idea of having a gang, and so he's the one that gets out there early in the game. He has, you can see him, he's giddy about the idea of having a gang.
Yeah, and
I mean, they have the same objective, which is get rid of the Templars that are ruling London, and they just have different ways of going about it, basically.
Are we going to see any big sibling fights anywhere in the game, perhaps?
There's plenty of sibling rivalry between the two, don't worry.
Yeah. There is a little bit, but we'll also see that Jacob follows the story of taking out the Templars and Crawford Stark directly, and then Evie is looking for the piece of Eden. She's looking for that mysterious element of Assassin's Creed, and she really focuses on that. So I think the split between the two of them allows us a lot of opportunities.
Cool. So just throwing it over to Lee for a little bit. We've seen a lot of Victorian London tonight, and as an expert in all things Victorian, what do you think of it? How accurate is what we've seen?
I find it just mind-blowing. I mean, it takes me back. I've spent the last 15 years researching Victorian London, writing about it. But you're in it, I've climbed Nelson's Column. I've jumped over the Thames on barges and steamboats. It's just incredible. And the attention to detail that goes into this game is just astonishing. Even the road surfaces, the sounds made by the carriages, it's just amazing.
Cool, fantastic. So then Jake Wade wanted to know, in previous games, we used to see quite a lot of the modern-day storyline, and that's kind of fallen by the wayside slightly. Will we be seeing any modern-day or Animus storylines again in this one?
I've got the mic, So yeah, if you're here tonight at the event and you've actually been able to play the game, you'll see that there are present-day elements in the game, but if you're not here, I'm afraid you're going to have to wait to play the game at home to see where that goes. But yeah, tonight people who've got hands-on have got to see some elements in it. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything else to that. Okay, cool.
You're going to save some spoilers for release.
Spoilers. We don't want to spoil it for people.
That's fair enough. Okay, cool. So I think we actually have some questions from the floor as well.
Some audience questions.
Yes.
Hello, Elsa.
Hello.
Firstly, costume is ace.
Thank you.
This is what I like, a nice bit of effort in terms of attire this evening, and there's some brilliant costumes. We're going to get onto that later on. You have a question for these guys. What is it?
Yes. I wanted to know, how did you balance the historical accuracy, the Assassin's Creed mythology, and fun for the players?
That is a really strong question.
It's a challenge for sure. I mean, there's so much history with the brand of Assassin's Creed, with that series. There's so much history just of London. That 1868 time period is probably the most well-known or the most well-documented of any time period we've ever done. So we have a lot to live up to. We have a lot of reference, but we have a lot to live up to, and it's easy for anyone to sort of compare the two of what we've done versus what actually existed. But it's always a balance. We work closely with the brand and make sure that we deliver on what we think it should be as well as what fans think it should be.
Can I say something? I mean, the characters in the game say that you meet in the game, Karl Marx, he was trying to plan the overthrow of the British Empire in the 19th century. People were playing for big stakes, and there were gangs in Victorian London. People in the 1820s, there was a gang who had called the 40 Thieves in Lambeth, and they had their own gang tattoo done with gunpowder on their hands. So some things may seem weird and amazing, but actually a lot of that really existed as well.
Fantastic. So another question from Keith Duffield says, did you have fun researching suitable London slang, and which insult made you laugh the most? Bear in mind, we are going out live, and in some places it is before 9 p.m.
No,
so.
I do have a long list in an email that one of our historians gave to me, but most of them are not things I can say live on camera, although you will hear them in the game. No, we really did have a lot of fun with researching the language. I'm from London. There's other people from the team from London, but we weren't alive in the Victorian era, so we have to do a lot of research. And the writers did a lot of research in terms of writing and then checking the language. We had small things like the phrase bow wow mutton, which I've never heard, but I should be using all the time now, which was there's a moment in the game where someone's suggesting that one of the historical characters might not want to eat that meat because it might be bow wow mutton. The idea being that stray dog is obviously on the menu. And there's other words like that. And obviously working with people like Lee and looking at the historical context for those words was a really interesting part of the job.
Yeah, and I think also, pretty much every word in the dialogue has been worked on by historians. And if you are a Londoner and you play this game, you'll be astonished how incredibly realistic and accurate it feels. And I'm not sure if we got in bags of mystery, which is another word for sausages. Again.
Again with the meat.
The mysterious meat in Victorian London, yes, definitely.
Awesome. So I think, any more from the floor? We have another one, I believe.
Over this way. I'm joined by Thomas, and I just want to point out, Thomas, I just went to shake his hand to say hi to him. He has knives down his sleeves, which I absolutely love. Thomas, your question.
Hi guys. How hard do you find it designing new kind of costume types while still managing to maintain the overall assassin image? Kind of what makes an assassin to look at?
So yeah, I mean that's a key moment of production, and it's something that a lot of people are involved with. Obviously, the artist, the art director, but it's something that everyone wants to have input in. So it's always a big discussion at the start of the project. It's one of the first things that we work on because it's one of the first things that we release to the public, the look of the new assassin. We definitely, again, use historians to help us. In this particular case, we work with experts in the field of Victorian fashion, and we just work very hard to just get that sort of je ne sais quoi mix of assassin look with authentic Victorian streetwear, I guess. And I think we've done a good job with our two protagonists this year. Do you
I mean, it looks amazing, and I know from talking to someone who's worked on the project that they actually scanned real Victorian fabric to create the costumes, and that again just shows the level of detail and thought that goes into these games. It's amazing.
Cool. So another question that we've had from Spence Collins as we edge ever closer to modern times is: do you reckon we could have an Assassin's Creed game set in modern times? Like World War came up quite a few times as a question.
I mean, certainly there's been a trend, a noticeable trend of moving towards now in the timeline. It's not always been the case though. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag happened before the events of Assassin's Creed 3. So because of that, there's no guarantee that we're going to move forward in the future. You'll just have to wait and see. So history's our playground. We can jump around and go wherever we like, and that's the really, really cool thing. And maybe one day we'll go present day. Maybe we won't. Let's see.
Cool. Okay. So more questions from the floor, I believe.
Yes. I'm joined by Ryan. Ryan, you have a question?
Hi guys. So you've only ever been able to play one character in the AC series. What inspired you to make Jacob and Evie co-protagonists?
Well, early on, we wanted to tell sort of two sides to the story. We wanted to have one character that could focus on the more mysterious aspects of Assassin's Creed, the pieces of Eden, the Assassin Templar War, and all those elements. And then we wanted to give time as well for focusing on taking over the city, on beating the Templars and Crawford Stark. So it was about splitting those goals and then being able to personify those goals as characters and then have them engage with each other. By making them brother and sister, I think it really worked towards allowing us to have that great banter that was, even at the basic level, you knew there was some connection between the two, and it creates a lot of tension, which creates a lot of fun moments in the story.
Cool. So Carson Tate wants to know, if the twins, Jacob and Evie Fry, turn out to be likeable characters, could we see them in more games like Ezio had his trilogy? So obviously, we've heard lots of vocal support for Evie tonight. Could she possibly be cropping up again? I
mean, it's a similar answer to the one I just gave about the president. I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. We're really confident that the characters will be much loved. And yeah, you know, I'll just say it again. You know, Assassin's Creed is just wonderful for that. We have all the time periods that we could available to us, and we have lovable characters that we could bring back, or we have the potential to bring and create many new wonderful characters as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. Sorry.
Oh, we're trying, guys. We are trying for you. Okay, so I think another question on the floor?
Yes, we have one more question. Hello, Tom.
Hi. How difficult is it to balance the real history with Assassin's Creed lore, and what do you find most challenging about that?
I think trying to maintain the focus on having a fun gameplay while making sure that it's accurate is always the tricky part. I mean, the rope launcher is one obvious one where it's, you know, maybe not 100% historically accurate, but we try to make sure that it passes a believability test. So if you don't call BS on it within a few seconds, if there's a little bit of a question in your head, then we can move forward with it and at least consider it. But we also have, you know, we have historians on staff. We have people that are constantly questioning. We have the community always that's pushing us to maintain that accuracy that Assassin's Creed is known for.
And one of the great things about Syndicate in the time period is that, like with the rope launcher, the Industrial Revolution gives us, we're on that cusp. It's the first truly modern assassin city. So we've had a lot of opportunities to really mix up the things we've done in games before, like having the Da Vinci character before, and now being able to have Alexander Graham Bell in this game, and having the rope launcher and having weapons that are, you know, a little bit fantastical, but still believable in this city with the idea of this age of invention. So it's been really cool for us.
Cool. So Basil Frank wants to know, as a student in animation, what were some new challenges the team faced when animating the game?
So I started as an animator, and I think some of our biggest challenges are that Assassin's Creed is so well known. We've made there's only so many ways you can kill people. So always being creative with with the assassinations, with the fight, with the everything you do in the game, trying to make sure that it feels fresh and new, and then also trying to make sure that it fits that Victorian London, trying to make sure that it looks accurate to the time, it looks accurate to our characters, it brings their personality forward. And I think the people that you see on the streets, we want to make sure that they're walking accurately as well, or that they're animating properly, or that, you know, they feel like they're all part of that London 1868 and not maybe any other time period we could possibly have done.
Yeah, I mean, we've got people playing cricket and playing football. You know, these are the sort of things that can only really happen in a British setting. Yeah. So, you know, we absolutely had to get that kind of stuff in. And so it's a challenge, but it's a good one and a fun one.
Fantastic. So I think we have time for one more question, which again to come in from the floor.
So like Ted is here. I love Ted because Ted, what was it that you said about IGN before we went live?
Watch it every day is kind of daily thing, really.
That's what we like. What's your question?
Which famous person do you think would make a good assassin, and what would they fight for?
Tough one. Haven't heard that one before, or do you get that all the time?
No, I've actually never had that. It's a tough one. I think. Well, going from since we're in London, I think a character like James Bond would be sort of the perfect assassin. He already is sort of an assassin, but I think giving him James Bond that assassin costume and style would be amazing.
And I was also thinking about Boadicea as a character from history, so going backwards and seeing the Boadicea character, and also kind of ties in a bit with someone fighting for the kind of rights of their people, etc. So it fitted in quite nicely, but it's a tough question.
Yeah, it is a tough one. You took James Bond, so I guess maybe Rambo. Like, well,
very good.
Right, because he's using a bow and arrow. He's using his knife. It's like takes out a whole army just, using real skills. So, maybe Rambo.
He's quiet. He does it very silently.
Stealthy. That's
super stealthy.
That's what we like.